Okay.
Okay, now we are. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Okay, last week we spoke about the concept of making time precious. We talked about looking at our days and looking at all the elements that HaKadosh Baruch Hu built into our ability to become masters of time. We gave very specific and clear suggestions on how to take these days where the notion of time as we knew it has been effectively suspended and recast it to be able to make our lives richer and happier and the things we feel
Good. How are you?
deeper. Today, we're going to focus on an additional tool from a slightly different vantage point that I hope and believe will also enable us. If everybody could please mute. Let's see.
Okay. You got it, man. We'll call you soon. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Fox
All right.
When the guy comes.
Okay, everyone, can you guys please mute? Great. I thought I muted everyone, but we'll give it another shot here.
Can you guys please mute yourselves? It's hard to hear
Everybody,
them.
please mute. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Okay.
Hi.
Okay, everybody, please mute. Hi. Okay. So what we'll be focused on today is another important element, something that we're going to discuss on two levels. We're going to discuss general awareness and overview. And then we're going to discuss the specific tools that help us really dig in deep. So what we're going to look at today is the element of beauty in Judaism, where beauty comes into play, how we engage beauty, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Torah want us to look at beauty or suggest that we look at beauty, and how then we take that beauty and we use it to be happier, use it to enjoy things more. So let's see, let's quickly go back to the beginning. HaKadosh Baruch Hu starts out the Torah in a fascinating way, in a way that you wouldn't imagine, because it's essentially a book of laws and a book of life direction. HaKadosh Baruch Hu spends many, many, many verses describing the beauty of his creation in remarkable detail. From the overall picture and then drilling down, as we know, to this domain and that domain, to the plant kingdom, to the sea world, to the animal kingdom, to the heavens, giving us a prompt to all that's built in, and then telling us, you know what? All of this beauty that I created and I'm describing to you in very, very succinct detail is something that I want you to get involved in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, that beautiful mountain range, climb it. Those beautiful trees, nurture them. Learn how to plant more, enjoy them. Those beautiful seas and oceans, swim them, explore them, sail them. Those heavens, reach out to them and see what they offer. And the most beautiful element of all, us, our physical bodies that are remarkably complex in their beauty, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says as well, go and find and learn about yourself and how the eye works and how the blood works and how the skin works, on and on and on. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, I am mandating that beauty, the physical beauty around us, the physical beauty that is us, is an important part of Judaism. We're not ascetics. We don't run off into the desert and hide in a building alone to appreciate God's greatness and life's greatness. The opposite, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. Go out, see it, engage it, and make it part of how we live. He then goes one step further. He says that you will not only will we build a Torah, a Jewish world, with a strong emphasis on physical beauty. As we mentioned last week, we're going to put a strong emphasis on the beauty of time as well through Moed. So beauty, as our headline, manifests itself in physical things, in a tree, in the sunshine, in an apple, in a hand, in a beautiful picture. It also manifests itself in the beauty of the time that we have, as expressed in Moed. Good. Talk about this more as we go. We're going to dig down deeper. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says something absolutely remarkable. And this makes up the bulk of our Torah and our connection to Yahadut as we know it. And that is, he says, I'm going to prescribe tens of actions that will have from them many tens more that we call the mitzvot. And by engaging these elements of beauty, you'll be able to enjoy life that much more. Remarkable. What does he say the point and purpose is of mitzvot? To discover what life is, to engage it, to grow with it, to touch it more closely, to then take this notion of beauty, which is paramount in Yahadut, and bring it even into the actions that we do. Mind-boggling. So let's recap. Somewhat unexpectedly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu spends many, many, many verses in the beginning of our book that describes and details our forever relationship with him, describing the beauty of the world in detail, and then inviting us and mandating us to take charge of that, to become partners with it, to engage it, to build it. Step 2, as we mentioned last week, he then connects us to the beauty of time, and he charges us with being its master. And then he does something that's most remarkable, and he defines a series of actions called mitzvot that we engage for one purpose: to grow as people, to become more as people, to enjoy life more, to dig life deeper in all of the beauty that it represents. So where do we pause at this point? We pause and we say that beauty is this very central element of Judaism. And it's important for us to open our eyes wider and our hearts broader, particularly at a time like this, and see more of the beauty that life offers and make it more ours and engage it more deeply and get more happiness and good vibe from it. Okay, now HaKadosh Baruch Hu raises the bar even further. And it's just something that when you simply take it for granted and don't look at it with fresh eyes, you can't really appreciate what it is. He says the following. He says, not only do I want you to engage the beauty of my world, not only do I want you to use time to build more beauty into your day-to-day world and overall living, not only do I want to give you a lifestyle that's going to make life more beautiful, but I'm going to add another trigger. I'm going to add a prompt. I'm going to add a series of words to many or most of these beauty engaging possibilities to allow you to enjoy them even more. And what are those? They're the berachot that come before. Fantastic. Who would imagine? Who would imagine that when we see a beautiful thing, we say a beracha? That we engage something beautiful in time, we say a beracha. That when we do a mitzvah, which is about bringing more beauty into our lives, we say a beracha. Why? The answer is remarkable, because a prompt to a beautiful experience will make me and allow me to enjoy that experience even more. So there is a double shot here. And here's where we're going to zero in even further. And we're only going to do so in the time we have on a couple of areas of berachot. Let's talk about this unique and exciting beracha that we say beginning today and during the whole month of Nisan this month, and if necessary into Iyad for the first few weeks of Iyad. The Birkat HaIlanot. We have this extraordinary mitzvah once a year that we can engage for a full month or even a month and more if the time is needed, to walk over to preferably 2 fruit trees, ideally with 2 different fruits, but if there's 1 fruit on the 2 trees, it's fine. In their state, their earliest spring state, when they're flowering, when the buds of the flowers is showing itself on the fruit tree and not yet the fruit, to stand in proximity of that beautiful thing and express to Borei Olam our appreciation of that beauty as an example of all the beauty that he presents for us to appreciate. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, go stand by the fruit tree in its earliest stages so you can see how beauty starts and manifests, not at the end point, at the beginning point, so you can begin to build your life to appreciate beauty from the beginning point, from when it starts, so you enjoy it throughout its growth and development, throughout its process. Go at the early stage. Now, Rosh Chodesh, next few days, find a couple of fruit trees that are now in that very pristine and remarkable stage of flowering, and say the beracha and the tefillot that we add to it that express our appreciation to God for the physical beauty that he brings into our lives. What Birkat HaIlanot is one of the berachot for many of the beautiful things that we experience. But for today's focus, men and women, let's each make an effort to be zirizim, the mitzvah, to be zealous in going to that area as soon as possible, and saying this beracha. Say it in Hebrew if the words are clear, and if they're not, say it in English. Read it slowly and carefully, and let the power of the experience and the words begin to change our level of appreciation for physical beauty. And then the process goes further. The beracha of a mitzvah. Here we have some very interesting halachot. And that is that we say a beracha before we do a mitzvah, knowing that the beracha and the mitzvah are 2 separate things. So that highlights the point that the beracha has a separate purpose, to create a different awareness. So when we're saying the beracha, for example, to put on tefillin in the morning, say the beracha slowly, focusing on this remarkable thing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought into our lives in order to make our lives more beautiful. When we're saying the beracha on the Kiddush, on Shabbat, that he gave us this time, pay attention to the beracha and the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought this element into our lives to make it more beautiful, and the beracha is a prompt so that I step into this element with the most concentration and personal involvement possible. We know that with the Birkat Mitzvah, we can say the Beracha until the mitzvah is complete. So ideally, we say the Beracha over la'asiyatan, immediately before we do the mitzvah. But if for some reason we weren't able to, we say the Beracha until the mitzvah is complete. One of the most interesting examples of that is the mitzvah on B'dikat Chametz. Over here, we have a fascinating story. The language of the mitzvah is Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'sivanu al bi'ur chametz. We thank God for the awareness and the new beauty in life that this step of burning the chametz brings, even though at that point we're actually doing the checking. We're not doing the burning. So here, interestingly, we can say the beracha until the action of the checking is complete. And then we have to pause. If for any reason we weren't able to say the beracha during that entire period of checking for chametz in the house, we can't say it once we stopped checking, but we can say it the following morning right before we burn the chametz. So with a beracha for a mitzvah, we say the beracha immediately before we do the mitzvah and can continue to say it until the mitzvah is complete. The unique case of b'dikat chametz is, even though the language of the mitzvah is for the burning that happens the next day, we can continue to say the beracha until the end of the checking, and had we not said it for whatever reason, can say it the following day with the bi'ur. Going next to those things we enjoy, to fruits, to beautiful things we eat and enjoy in that way. Here again, we have a separate mitzvah to say a beracha before. So when we hold the apple in our hand, when we hold the glass of wine in our hand, when we hold the mizonot or the hamotzi in our hand, we take that few seconds looking at it and slowly articulating each of the words in the beracha. Why? Because we want to make that beauty ours. We want to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we got it, we see it, we're enjoying it, and words have power. And to the extent that our words will raise our awareness and therefore enable us to enjoy the fruit more, we will become happier people. That's the program here. See more beauty, appreciate it more. Use words to prompt us, to bring us to a mindset where we're more engaged with that beauty. When we're up to doing a mitzvah, say the beracha first. So now we're at a different mindset, a different awareness, more prepared to deeply engage the beauty. And now that mitzvah becomes more of a building tool for us. It helps us grow. The more we engage it, the more we appreciate it, the more it'll help us grow. So to wrap things up, our patriarchs did remarkable things. And later, dreamers and philosophers and writers and songwriters and playwrights followed them in this. Abraham Avinu walked the land based on HaKadosh Baruch Hu's direction in order to understand beauty, to connect to beauty. And from that, he began to build that deep and unique and remarkable relationship with Borei Olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, walk the land. He could have told him, keep Shabbat. Walk and see the desert, see the mountains, see the beauty of rain, touch the water, swim in it, sail it, plant a tree. These are life-changing. Birkat Ilanot reminds us of that. In fact, Rambam says a fascinating thing. He says that a person will be asked at the end of his days why he didn't engage any of the world's beauty that he had the opportunity to. In other words, Borei Olam will stand and he'll ask us about our mitzvot, our gemilut chasadim, our learning, how we loved each other, how we cared for each other. All the things we did quietly, undercover, will be shared. And then he'll say, you know what? You could have gone to see that remarkable mountain range. You had the wherewithal to do so. What happened? You would have engaged more of my beauty that I built into the world. Remarkable perspective that Rambam offers, but it makes complete sense. Through seeing it, we'll build a greater love for it and for God. When we eat something, when we smell something, when we enjoy something, the beracha that's said before is a function of the berachot that we were told to say after. Our rabbis started with the perspective, say a beracha after you enjoy something to say thank you. And then from that, they extended it to a more sensitive and life-building place. They said, say the beracha before you enjoy it. This way you'll enjoy it that much more. And it'll become that much more of something that enriches your life. And finally, let's look at mitzvot as happiness builders, as beauty builders, as life enrichers, as ways to make things more enjoyable, more deeply felt, more forever, more sincere, more humble, more ours. That's what they were meant to be. A mitzvah is there to build a human being. And to the extent that we understand the berachot that we say before, and in certain cases after, we will engage that mitzvah on a more deep level and take much more from it. So, let's see all the beauty that there is in life. Let's start with Birkat HaIlanot. Let's say each beracha with more focus. Let's smile more at the beauty that HaKadosh Baruch Hu offered us. And let's use these insights during this time to take more of life's beauty, to make it happier, to make it more beautiful. Thank you all for joining. Wish you all thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. You're the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Guys, find him on Instagram at Ricky Cohen.
Thank you.
Maybe share the
Thank
handle
you.
on the chat, Gil.
Hi,
Thank you
Richard.
very much, everybody.
I'll put it on the
Please.
chat.
Thank you.